Growing up in the 2000s definitely had its unique joys, but for me, those joys came in the form of video games. I dabbled in most mainstream games, like following the epic space saga of Master Chief and Halo, or exploring the more slow paced biomes of Minecraft. And I even got into the occasional run in with Call of Duty. And while I dabbled in those and learned to appreciate them, they weren't really my cup of tea. I was a Nintendo kid. I spent countless evenings playing Mario Kart Wii, breaking family bonds with Mario Party. And you're a real one if your personal favorite is Mario Party DS. I remember at big family gatherings, each of my cousins all had DSs, and we'd play Mario Party together for hours. Simpler times. My sister and I would get into fights over which Wii sports game we would play, which usually ended up being Dogfight, probably because I was older. So if my sister's watching this, sorry. I could talk about my childhood with Nintendo for so long on so many subjects, but this video isn't just about Nintendo. It's specifically about my first introduction to the Smash series was actually not this one. It was Super Smash Brothers! No, still not that one. Yeah, Brawl. The black sheep of the games. Now, I know, but hear me out. I was 8 when that game came out, and while I later learned to appreciate Melee and even Smash 64, I was in it for the casual play as a kid. Again, I was 8. I liked it when the big, bulky guy threw his sword in the air. But back in the year of our Lord 2008, I was at a play date or a slumber party or something with a couple of friends, and they casually booted up their Wii and were so excited to show me this new game they got. Now, I assumed it would be like Wii Play or Rampage or Wii Carnival or some kind of wacky party game, but oh man, was I wrong. They introduced me to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And me being a guest in their house who wasn't allowed to play violent video games because my mommy didn't want me to be corrupted, I was nervous about getting in trouble for playing a game that's sole premise was fighting. So, begrudgingly, for the first time of what would become countless hours, I played a game that would change the way I enjoyed video games. A game that would change the way I viewed Nintendo. A game that would change my life for the better part of the next 15 years. I fell in love with the game. From watching the epic cinematic intro with the incredible opening theme, even to the vast roster that at the time I thought couldn't possibly get any bigger. Holy smokes, this game had it all. It was realistic and gritty while still maintaining that artistic charm that Nintendo does so well. I mean, you could tell that Mario was wearing denim, but he still had that big floppy nose. This game was incredible to little 8-year-old Kleb. So, a couple months passed since that night that I was first introduced to Brawl, and I learned a lot about the game. I talked to my friends about it every day at school, learning about the game modes and different characters to play as. And remember, I didn't have the game yet. And to be honest, I didn't really ask for it. I didn't think my parents would let their 8-year-old boy own a game that said T for teens on the front. But little did I know, later that year, at my birthday party, which was a rager, by the way, my friends that showed me Brawl for the first time had gotten me the game as a gift. I remember I played a great, huge chunk of the Subspace Emissary, Brawl's version of a solo campaign. And can we just sit for a minute and respect how sick that title is? Subspace Emissary. But that's probably hands down why Brawl means so much to me. It captured my imagination. There's not a single line of dialogue throughout the entire campaign, but there's still so much emotion and storytelling. There's this evil conspiracy of some kind going across the world, and it slowly forces all of our Nintendo heroes to unite against it, and it's never really explained why or how. We just see people fighting because they care. And in a way, that's what Smash is. And I gotta give props to the team for that, because, yeah, I mean, it was cool, and it's still cool, and I still watch compilations of the cutscenes, and maybe that's a problem. But to paint a picture of the kind of surprising joy and creativity this game brought, let's just look at the final cutscene before the final boss of the Subspace Emissary. The Fast Hedgehog is in this game. Sonic's intro in this game literally happens as the last character you unlock before the final boss, and he literally just shows up out of nowhere. If you didn't look up the roster, or you were like me, a kid who had limited internet access, it was mind-boggling. Then there were moments like this scattered all throughout the single-player portion. But also, in the primary Smash mode, you could unlock them. After a certain number of battles, you'd have to battle a random NPC to unlock the character permanently. And I realize this was in the first two games as well, but this was my first Smash experience, so let me have this. It was awesome. I mean, it really felt like you had to earn the characters, almost like fighting a samurai where you had to beat them in order to earn their respect. Very quickly, Brawl became my first choice when people came over. It was all I wanted to talk about with my friends at school. I even had the edgy cover art of Brawl on my iPod Touch. Yeah, I was really cool, okay? The only real problem that I ran into with Brawl as I got older was I couldn't play it on the road, or I couldn't easily take it to a friend's house. I didn't get to keep all my data if I just brought the disc to someone else's Wii. If only there was a way to play Smash on the go, maybe on my DS? Holy crap. When I tell you I literally dreamed about playing Smash on my DS, this is what I meant. For some reason, in my now 14-year-old brain at this point, the only limitation to getting Smash on the DS was that it didn't have an analog stick, which obviously isn't the only issue. I mean, you gotta get the DS powerful enough to run a game like that, to keep input delay low, and to find a way to make it look, well, like it wasn't made in the 90s. But when the 3DS was released, holy crap, I was convinced Smash was coming, and coming soon. I mean, it had an analog stick. They had done the impossible. They put it there. They put it on the foldable game. I remember that for Smash 3DS, they released a free downloadable demo that had 8 characters, and 1 or 2 of them were newcomers too. And I think I played that more than the actual game. I'd go over to my best friend's house and we'd play together. Yeah, the free demo together. They added the multiplayer to the demo. It was pretty much the whole game, honestly. There were 40 other characters you couldn't play as, but to me, that was all I needed. And at the time, again, this was peak Smash. There was no way that Smash could ever get better. Right? Well, guess I gotta get a Wii U now. When the Wii U came out, it seemed like very few people even realized it. I mean, I'd have friends over who saw it and assumed it was some weird off-brand thing, but no, it's official Nintendo, okay? And it's not the latest leapfrog pad, I promise. Most people that I've talked to got a Wii U so that they could play Smash 4, which honestly, I'm probably in the same boat. I definitely played other games on it, but it was mostly influenced by the ability to play Smash on my TV again, and also in fully realized high definition. Now, I recognize that Smash 4 was a deeply flawed game by the end of its life cycle. There were busted DLC characters like Cloud with his massive hitboxes, there were awful online services, and there was little to no single-player experience other than Classic Mode, which had already been in other games and was a huge downgrade compared to Brawl's Subspace Emissary. Again, Subspace Emissary. Awesome title. Oh, also, if I didn't emphasize it enough, broken DLC characters. But even with its flaws, this game is what pulled me into the competitive esports scene of Smash. As I was trying to get better at the game, I started getting more and more tournament VODs recommended to me on my YouTube feed, and I loved it. My freshman year of college, every time I had 10, 15 minutes, I'd pull up the latest tournament and watch a couple matches. Maybe I was eating lunch. Oh, time to watch a match. Maybe I was waiting for class to start. Oh, time to watch a match. Maybe it was 2:30 in the morning and I didn't want to go to bed. Oh, time to watch a match. And just as I was starting to get warmed up and I really felt like I was grasping the mechanics and starting to really just understand the meta of Smash 4, don't get me wrong, I was stoked for this game. But I was more so nervous about how long it would take me to get it. Most people at the time were going to already have bought a Switch because of Breath of the Wild. But me, I had a Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. Yeah. Most people don't realize that that legendary game was released on both the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. And it struggled with frame drops and a few other problems, but for the most part it was the exact same game, just $300 less because I didn't have to buy a new Nintendo Switch to play it. So of course, when Breath of the Wild released, I bought it on the console I had. Anyway, the point is, I didn't have a Switch, and I was in the middle of college, losing more money than I could make with any part-time job. That year, I was blessed. It was as if Sakurai himself told my parents exactly what I wanted. Maybe with a little help from Santa. For Christmas, I not only got a Switch, but I got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Just a month after release, I had my hands on that bad boy. And my grandma even went to buy the game for me the day it released. So it came with this exclusive little coin, which is it's just neat. You know, I'm never going to do anything with it, but I like it. With Ultimate, I was really hesitant at first. I had just learned how to play Smash 4 competently, and it was like switching from a bicycle to a motorcycle. Similar concept, very different execution. But quickly, I fell in love with it. There could not have been a better time for this game to come out for me. Everyone at my college either knew what it was or wanted to play it. I mean, it was flashy and colorful, and again, it had all these famous characters that people knew. And I played nearly every day with my roommates, with my friends, with people from clubs, with classmates, just random people who happened to be walking by I played with. I'm actually convinced I made better friends because of this game. And to anyone who's ever lived with me, I'm sorry that you became my Smash Bros. Punching bag. Now, let's rewind a little bit. Because Ultimate was a great game long before it even came out. From the very first announcement trailer, Ultimate had crazy hype around it. Everyone and their little brother was theorizing about this game and what other characters would come to the game, and it all started with 3 little words. Everyone is here. This was everything. This game was going to be everything. The game released with so many characters, and then they announced that there was DLC coming. And the DLC slots brought even more mystery and hype. They were guaranteed to be all new characters to Smash Bros. And how did we know that? Because everyone was already in the game. There was no theorizing to be done on unreleased characters. Now it was going to be new, and they started drip feeding us like gerbils in a cage over the course of 2 years, and the hype got wilder and wilder, and Nintendo delivered, mostly. While there were a couple misses with the DLC, every character they added was either a long-awaited fan favorite like Sora or Banjo and Kazooie, or it was a long shot and was considered weird like Byleth. But then they also included Steve and Joker, which are people that no one thought would ever make it into Smash. And to be honest, I don't think Nintendo and Sakurai and the team that worked on Smash really gets enough credit for the kinds of weird legal loopholes they had to jump through to get some of these characters. But it was worth it, and it's awesome. They put so much heart into this game and all the other games as well, and it shows. The game was so massive that there were so many different game modes and general ways to play that it brought back the fun of local multiplayer games. The classic couch co-op, Halo and Call of Duty and other main games were starting to even just eliminate couch co-op and split screen capabilities. Nintendo was saying, no, people play games to play with their friends. Stupid. Super Smash Bros. Is an incredible game series. In this video alone, I'm only scratching the surface of the kind of impact that this game, or this series really, has had on individual people and even me. I mean, I didn't even talk about Smash 64 or Melee, and arguably those are more famous than the games I've talked about. But they weren't really part of my story. That doesn't mean they're not important. This series means a lot to me, and I'm glad it's around, and I hope it sticks around.